Did you know that shamanic healing can work just as well for animals as it does for humans? In this video, you're going to hear about 3 things. 1, what does shamanic healing for animals embody? 2, how does shamanic healing for animals look like? And 3, why shamanic healing for animals is really helpful to them. Welcome to Sacred Gaia. I am a shamanic healer and medicine woman. I am also an animal communicator and psychic tarot reader. Shamanism is based on the premise that everything has a spirit. When I say everything, I mean us humans, animals, plants, minerals, trees, and even Earth herself. And in shamanism, we also believe that all our illnesses, sicknesses, injuries, and even mental health struggles have some sort of underlying cause. It's a little bit like peeling an onion, where you start taking a layer so you understand and see that beyond the surface symptoms, there is something underlying there. There is a trigger. And that is not seen to the naked eye. When the spirit goes through some sort of challenge or trauma, the soul gets sick and that gets manifested in a physical realm. And that is really important because shamanic healing is really looking beyond the obvious surfaced reasons and beyond the symptoms that everyone else can understand. It really gets to the core of the issue. There are key elements to shamanic healing for animals. I'm going to touch on at least 4. Number 1 is the concept of bridge. A shaman or shamanic healer will act as a bridge between ordinary reality and non-ordinary reality. Ordinary reality is something that is familiar to all of us. It's a reality that we exist day to day, that we wake up in and that we go to sleep in. The non-ordinary reality, it's a realm where all the other spirits exist. It's a little bit like a state in between. I often refer to it as a dreamlike state. In fact, it's more like a active dreaming. It also feels like you are in between or on the edge. It's really like you're present in both places at the same time. And as this bridge, we're seeking for direct communication with compassionate spirits that can really help us, that can support us in the healing process. Because we believe that even though we all possess some healing powers, spirit world is so powerful and they can help us to remove our ego, dissolve what we think and really see things for what they really are and help us to seek particular solution to the problem in a best possible way, but also that is best in that particular moment in time. Second element is a trance. During the shamanic healing session for an animal, a healer would enter a trance-like state. It's a state where we merging with the spirit world, where we're asking for help, where we communicate. Very often we become one with the spirit. In that state, we're able to communicate with an animal, with the spirit, but also we're able to sense things completely different to how we've been trained in an ordinary reality. Everything can be fluid, anything can happen, and we're really open to it. Third principle that is really important is tool and techniques. What's really different about shamanic healing for animals is that we would use pretty much the same tools and techniques that we would use for people. This is from using sounds like drumming, rattles, perhaps a visualization, energy extractions, and merging with healing spirits. It differs from healer to healer, but essentially we still work with these tools and we still rely on these techniques. So it's a very active process. It's very driven by interaction and by inviting spirit, by stimulating the scenario, by stimulating the animal itself. And sometimes it's even about calming an animal in that process of healing. From my experience, I think that they really love the sound of flute, and I always incorporate that, and I've never been disappointed of how much relaxing that sound is to them. Shamanic healing can work from distance. It doesn't have to necessarily happen in a physical space. As you probably understand already from the introduction, we work in a non-ordinary reality. When you transfer yourself into the spirit world, time, space, all of that doesn't exist anymore. Animals actually respond very well in terms of distant healing. They don't feel like you intrude their space, they don't feel awkward, they don't feel like you're breaking their routine, and they just feel much more comfortable in that realm of spirit. They're very, very connected to the spirit realm. They're very connected to that other non-ordinary reality. I always say that we should be surprised how connected they are. So when they do exist in the earth plane, what's really interesting is that they like to stay grounded, they like to have their routine, and they like to have things that are very familiar to them so they can balance it out. So when I do healing, I often find that going and meeting that animal in a non-ordinary reality, in that dream state, it's way more effective and relaxing to them. We can perform shamanic healing in physical space and from the distance, but personally I think they are a little bit more comfortable when you do that in the dream state, rather than kind of performing any sort of weird things over the body. So before we go to the next section, I have two questions. Question one: have you actually ever experienced some sort of energy healing on your animals? And if you have, what was your experience? And the second question is that if you haven't, would you be open in trying it as a carer for your animal? And perhaps if you are a healer, would you be interested or open to translating your practice from humans to animals? I really want to hear your thoughts, so please drop your comment below. So why is it so beneficial to them? Why is shamanic healing so helpful and so successful in many cases? In shamanic healing, when we connect to spirit world, we really ask our ego to be dissolved. So first of all, we really drive that healing process with a lot of openness in our heart and a lot of guidance from the spirit world. So it's not so much to what we think is good, what makes us look good, what would feel to us as accomplishment, etc. We really let ourselves to be guided by spirits that probably have even more abilities and skills than what we in this reality. Animals are particularly responsive to shamanic healing. I would even say that more than people, because what really happens for them during that process is us connecting to their really true essence. It's almost as once we go into that trance-like state and we work with the spirit world, we see for who they really are. We see their true nature. We open ourselves to dialogue. We want to hear their voice. We connect with our animal spirit and our helping spirits from different realms, and what that does to us is that we remove ourselves as human from that egocentric point of view. So it's almost like that trance-like state dissolves that shell for human and what we've been programmed to think and what we've been programmed to do, and it just kind of opens another layer of communication. It's really eye-opening to see them in that light, to hear them what they really sound like. It's absolutely magical, and I really think that this is what really makes it so successful. In shamanic healing, we will work with a lot of different energies. So I've already mentioned that we will work with animal spirits, we will work with plant medicine, we will work with energies also such as angelic realms. You would be surprised how much they are already familiar with these energies. This is not alien to them. So when we work with this reality, it's just like being home for them. It's really fluid, and they most of the time really open. Of course, there are cases when sometimes they can be very resistant, but they're not resistant to be in that space. They're mostly resistant to letting go of something. In the next video, I'm going to talk about most common reasons and triggers for shamanic illnesses in animals. So if you are interested in that topic, or if you simply care for an animal, the best thing to do is of course subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get alerted once the next video gets uploaded. As always, lots of love, many warm hugs. Thank you for being here, and I really hope that I'll see you soon again. Bye for now.